Hey, Colin. How you doing?
Laura, how are you now?
I mean, I was asking you, should I answer it?
Well, I was leaning into a beef that I feel like we're going to have on this podcast, but I'm doing well. I'm very drowsy.
I missed that.
I got out of work today. I watched all the impeachment hearings this week to some extent, and today I watched everything. And that lasted until after I got home, and after my cats were like, dude, we don't have any motherfucking food, and after I went and got them food, and they attacked me at the door when they heard the crinkles of large cat food bag. And then I took a nap, and here I am. Hello.
Hi. That sounds intense.
Yeah, emotionally intense. Physically, I didn't do a whole lot.
Oh.
What have you been doing? What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. I feel like every time there's like this wonderful thing that the universe does where every time we want to try to record, it is when I am the most stressed at work.
We definitely had that conversation before.
Yeah. But it's so consistent that I worry that people who listen to this podcast might think I am constantly stressed. And I'm not. My natural state of being is couch person.
Yes. More so. Given how active and diligent a person you are about your responsibilities, couch person is the predominant descriptor.
100%. I am sometimes I will just look at Charles and say, I am gray lady, because I look down and I realize that I am wearing a gray sweatshirt with gray sweatpants and gray slippers under a gray blanket. And I'm like, this makes sense.
So when I ask, how are you doing? You should just say, look at me.
I am so gray.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, so unfortunately, I feel like every time we record, it's when things are popping off the most. And this week has been pretty stressful at work.
Yeah.
Just one of those things where there's just too much to do and not enough time, and that would just be if we were in a vacuum, and it doesn't relate to new things coming in or the actual store being open.
Yeah, that's fair. That's has there been how have things been since the new products? I know the Apple TV incentives are there. I don't know, how has that been changing?
So that stuff hasn't been too bad. We've been busy. I would say maybe the past couple of days, not quite as much. But we've been definitely seeing an uptick. Holiday started. We're in red. I'm actually wearing my shirt right now.
Ooh.
I haven't even changed, which is unusual because I usually take my shirt off before I leave work so that I can be and I'm done. My Apple shirt. My Apple shirt. Come on.
I'm so fucking done with work today.
I'm so done with work. I'm going to get fired.
Listen, as long as you punch out first, I think the worst that happens is you can get escorted out of the mall. Is that a thing? I don't know.
That's a great
could
question.
Be wrong.
Also, have you seen teen fashion these days?
Yeah, that's extremely true. Also, being without a shirt is a totally legal thing to do. It's just mall policy. Yeah. So, whatever. Yeah. I wish I could say my work has been equally stressful, but it's I don't know.
I would be glad if it wasn't.
I wish I could. Okay, so you say that you are not a stressful person, and right now I believe you that you are not stressed out as a state of being. 6 months ago, I probably would not have agreed with that statement.
Fair. I was getting married 6 months ago, so I was allowed to be stressed.
Yeah, you had this whirlwind of stuff going on for so long that it was totally understandable and justifiable that you felt, I don't know, I want to think of something funny to say, but all the metaphors that are coming to mind involve ripping animals apart, and that's not the tone I want to place here. So my brain isn't really firing on the joke cylinders it usually fires upon. So the nap definitely did me in a bit. Which part of the recording did I say that in? I took a nap today. I think it was in the part listeners have already heard.
But
I will attest to the listeners that you definitely have chilled out a lot in the last few months. Once the wedding ended, you have been way more I'm going to play my games. Is Rebecca behind me? Hi, Rebecca. Yeah. How you doing?
Good. How are you? I was telling you that I liked her hair, but I was doing it like this.
Oh, she likes your hair.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now go away. You're in the credits. You're not in this part. Go away. What was I gonna say? Yeah, no, and it's been very nice to, obviously we hung out last month, which was great. It's been like it's like a month today or this week since we saw each other. It was really cool, and we've been playing our game pitching games a lot.
Yeah.
And it's been really nice. So the reason I believe you so hard that you're not stressed out is that you coming on and saying work has been a nightmare. I feel like that's the first time I've heard that in a while, and I'm so happy for you that
Thanks.
it is like sort of the spread is a little more tolerable.
Yeah. It's been good. Like, I haven't been staying late too much, which is good, but we had a bit of an incident.
Is this the one that you told me about?
I think so. Hold on. Pause here.
Okay.
I don't know how much of this I necessarily want to go into detail on, but we had a literal shitstorm.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I.
Yeah,
that's
the incident.
what
We're going to just call it the incident.
The incident.
So we had an incident at work which caused absolute mass chaos for a long time, including us having to be closed for essentially 2 full business days, and a lot of it impacted my area of responsibility. And it has taken
literally physically impacted.
Like physically. Physically. And it's been causing like a ton of extra work on top of just going into holiday season and being busy already. Mm-hmm. And it's just been like one of those things that everything I try to do is like a little harder than it should be already. And then we've been dealing with all the extra layers of like dealing with this incident and like the repercussions of that and trying to get back to 100% after that. And like, I sat down in the manager's office today with one of my managers, and I was like, my priority list right now is like, there are 25 things on priority level, like red alert 100. And then there are like 25 to 50 things that are on like, I just don't give a shit about you right now, but like are really important to someone. And that's not how you make a priority list, right? Like something has to be in the middle. And like right now, it just feels like it is either
Your
on
list has
fire or like I'm going to deal with it in 2 months.
2 columns. One is survival. The other is fuck you. And that's
right,
it.
exactly. Yes, that is exactly how I'm feeling. And like that is not good. And neither of the lists are shrinking. They're both just growing.
Do you feel comfortable saying what happened exactly? Because we didn't talk a lot about it, and I'm like hungry for details.
Yeah, I don't really, just because it is an issue that is going to have some sort of like lawyers involved, and I don't necessarily want to be that person that like puts it on blast.
That's a on blast.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. Once there is a legal resolution, let's get that expose. But I'm very sorry it had that impact on your. I said it again. That impact on your. It's more or less impacted your job.
Hey,
all right,
it sure has.
Joke cylinders starting to fire back up.
Good. But yeah, so work has been really busy. I also feel bad because work has been busy for Charles, and he's been coming home a little bit more stressed out recently. And then yesterday was his day off, and today's his long day. And he had to go to a meeting that was like 45 minutes away at 6 p.m. yesterday, and it like ruined his entire day and night.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That really sucks. That is a bad way to end to spend your time off.
Yeah, it was bad. And so he like I don't even remember, he like came in, he was like, I'm sorry to like bring my stress home with me. And I was like, listen, like I do the same thing to you sometimes. It's all about figuring out how to like mitigate the stress when you get home.
No, that's why you started the podcast, so that you can bring the stress to me and
Exactly.
have a happy marriage and totally destroy our relationship.
That is precisely why I do this. Yes.
No, that does stink, because I know that things have been going generally pretty well for him as well, and it's been nice to see you, having visited you guys in your home. You have a nice little happy sort of bubble, and I have a vested interest as your friend to see that bubble maintained.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is that we are pretty good at like once we're in the bubble, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
It's like once we get home, like we'll be okay.
What have you guys been doing like for chill time lately?
Charles is playing the shit out of Pokemon right now, so that's been most of it.
That is totally off my. Hold on. What the? I don't know. Hold on a sec. Rebecca has walked into the room holding a cat dangling. The cat that doesn't like to be picked up. The cat's claws are extended, and hooked on the nail, like the claw, is a throw pillow that will not fall off. So it's cat dangling a flowery throw pillow in tow, and it was a very strange image. We apologize for this interruption. Pokemon, not on my radar. But apparently my girlfriend is pretty good at catching small animals. So.
Wow, that was a great transition. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield came out. Excuse me, recently.
That's staying in.
Perfect. And he's been all about it, and he's been like so excited about it that I've been letting him play on the big screen. Like, even though that means that I literally just sit and dick around on my phone, and then sometimes I'll be like, but babe, what Pokemon can I find on Route 10? And then I spend some time like Googling what Pokemon he can find on Route 10.
I did that once recently. There was a new mission in Destiny. I didn't know how new it was or when it came out. And like as I'm playing, Rebecca is Googling this and trying to research Destiny information. And I'm like, is this strike part of the Shadowkeep DLC? And she's like, what's a strike? And it was just really hard to keep that going. At least you have an understanding of Pokemon, I presume.
Well, mostly from him, but also it's pretty easy for me to Google Pokemon Sword Route 10, and then there's so many resources for that. So.
That's true. That is a lot easier than the festering core.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to Google that.
Nope. Sounds bad. Sounds like the images tab is something to steer clear from. Yeah. Sword and Shield have gotten like a bit of like controversy from the angry fans. Like every fan base has the angry fans. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to refer to the people who love Pokemon but love to make Pokemon people feel bad, the angry fans.
Sure.
Because there aren't all, like this doesn't have all the Pokemon and all the Pokedex. I just want to ask, because I think you and I have the same feeling toward Pokemon where it's like, it's a game, and that's kind of it. I might have a little more resentment because of my last name, but...
True.
Have you heard anything from Charles complaining about the game?
The only thing that he talked about being slightly annoying was the fact that you couldn't catch Pokemon at all levels. Like, you had to have Pokemon that were a certain level to catch Pokemon of a certain level.
I did hear about that, yeah.
Yeah, when you were like right on the cusp, if you were like level 13 and you were trying to catch a level 14 Pokemon, it didn't say like, oh, it's too strong for you. You just wasted balls until you realized that it was higher level than you. So like that.
Oh, that's kind of, I imagine they could patch that. That's just an interface thing. They tell you, hey, don't fucking do that. That's
right, or like, because there are ones that you walk up to and they go like, oh, this Pokemon is like a super strong person, and then you like know not to go out, like up to it. But for the ones that are right around your level, it was a little annoying because he spent a really long time trying to catch it, and then he was like, it's literally one level higher than me, and I can't do it. That was kind of lame.
I'm never a fan of that kind of level gating. Like,
yeah.
I think people will argue that like Skyrim had a big impact on. Like open world gaming and role playing gaming, and people criticized it because it sort of stripped away some of the more nitty gritty role playing elements of the franchise. But what it did in terms of making it so you can kind of go anywhere at any time, and it's very clear when you're under leveled for a place, and it's not. The game wasn't prohibited by saying like, oh, you haven't hit this number, so you don't get to have as much fun now.
Right.
It's and like previous Elder Scrolls games had that, but the curve was so much different. And Breath of the Wild, I think, has introduced a lot of people to the concept that you have a game where you can go anywhere and do anything, and it's kind of, yes, you need to like get better gear, but it's really about the adventure and about your skill as a player. So I'm actually a little disheartened to hear that it's like one level difference and no prompt that you could waste your resources. That kind of
and like, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe we're missing something. But I did try to look it up online a little bit, and it was like, oh, you have to be a certain level to catch a certain level. And then as you defeat the gyms, your level cap goes up. Like it says like, now you can catch Pokemon up to level blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But we couldn't figure out like, maybe it was just because he went to a place too soon and hadn't defeated any gyms yet. Like, that could be a reason.
Okay.
Because afterwards, he was like, oh, I can't catch it because this particular Pokemon wasn't that level. But he didn't try again, and I don't know. Like, I don't know. It might not be as bad as it sounds.
Yeah.
But the way that he was playing through, it was, like, kind of annoying.
That makes sense. That's still, like, that is, like, a new thing. Like, I knew that there was, Austin told me about some differences in the level scaling across the map, but, basically, I was wondering if he cared that not all the Pokemon were in it because people are rip shit that not all the Pokemon are in the game, and it's just like, And the game just set a sales record for the franchise. So I'm like, I'm glad that the angry fans do not control this.
Yeah, he has not said anything about that. He's actually been really enjoying it. Like
That's great. That's really great.
I like turned around and he'd had the game for I think 4 days and he'd already played for 24 hours. So like,
I think I did that. I haven't it's been a while since I had a game that made me, when it came out, want to just sit and sink my life into it. I've sort of, unfortunately, I've matured as a gamer to the point where I don't need to throw my life at a game endlessly. I still do it, but I think it was Fallout 4 when it came out. And I didn't love Fallout 4. I just thought it was a good game. I think in the first 48 hours it was out, I played for 36. Wow. And it's just, I haven't done that disgusting of a commitment in a while. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of miss it. But speaking of angry fans, if we want to talk about an IP that has really angry, toxic fans, Rebecca and I are going through the Star Wars movies.
Hey,
because Star Wars 9 comes out soon, and I was like, okay. She hasn't seen the prequels. Last night we got halfway through Phantom Menace, and she fell asleep. Fucking surprise there. And I was basically like, episode 9 comes out. Do you want to see it? She's like, nah, I don't want to see it. And I was like, okay, cool. Then I won't bother taking you through them. And then we went to go see a movie in IMAX, and we saw the episode 9 trailer in IMAX, and she was like, oh my God, I want to see it. So now we are making
I'm
our way
just watching her eat in the background, but I can't see her face, and I wish I could so badly.
I think she's largely ignoring me.
Yes.
I'm just going to turn
Oh,
the camera.
good. She has headphones in. That's probably good.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, keep your AirPods in. I'm going to say stuff you don't want me to say. It's fine. So we were going through... You're not part of the podcast. Put your headphones back in. So the thing is, and I've had to sort of navigate this because I try to be very careful with spoilers. I took her through all of Star Trek, and there's so much, but I know it so well that if she asks a question while we're watching The Next Generation, I try not to spoil something that will happen in Voyager 12 seasons later of TV. So I'm generally pretty good at it, but somehow she made it 20 years without realizing that everyone hates the prequels.
That's impressive.
She still doesn't know this, and we're halfway through The Phantom Menace. And she's like, this is a fun movie.
Creeping up on you.
Yeah, she's like, do you have your fucking AirPod in? No, I see it. You have the other one. Okay, well now you're listening and you can't get mad at me. Okay, so we're halfway through The Phantom Menace, and she's like, hey, this is a very fun movie. And I'm like, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Go to sleep now. And I'm just
before you ruin it for yourself.
Yeah, like I'm not going to try to fuck this up for you.
Oh, that's magical.
All right, AirPods in.
But I don't know. I'm enjoying going through it again. I haven't really gone through the Star Wars movies since around when Force Awakens came out. There was a day that I was sick, so I just went through all 6 at the time.
I watched all of them when I was in high school with my boyfriend at the time. Mm-hmm. And we watched all of them in a couple weeks span or whatever. But I remember we left prom early in our senior year because it was actually lame. Legitimately, it was not a fun time. And we went and watched a Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of my Star Wars experience.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
was fine.
As a kid, I was sort of poisoned against it because my dad was like, Star Trek's better. And I got...
Well, because it is, but yeah.
It definitely is. I mean, and I've had a lot of people that I've introduced to Star Trek especially, they're like, Star Wars is for the kid in me, Star Trek is for the adult. And I very much, I sort of agree with that sentiment. Star Wars is a kind of pure fun, and that's not to say there's not an incredible depth to the franchise. There is. Right. You can dig into anything, but I think Star Trek gives you a lot more to chew on and a lot more things that sort of challenge you as an adult member of society. And as a kid, I was so turned off by the Star Wars movies because they were not scientifically accurate, and I was thinking about... So I went in with totally the wrong expectations for the franchise.
Yeah.
And I've grown out of that, and I've learned to appreciate them for what they are. And I really like Episode 8, because my problem with the franchise is Star Wars 1 came out, which is now Episode 4. Great movie. Episode 5 came out. Great movie. And every movie since then has been about episode 4 or getting back to episode 4. It's either a rehash or it's a prequel, and it's all about getting to that point. And The Last Jedi was the only movie since Empire that was like, we're going to do something fucking totally different. And I'm like, thank Christ.
Yeah.
So I'm just really hoping that's what 9 is going to be. But
Nice.
I'm going through them again. I'm excited to rewatch some of those movies. And I know I'm not like super invested in the Star Wars fan base, but I really want a Star Wars movie to come out where everybody isn't like, hey, director of this film, you should die because you made the movie. I'm really nervous that that's going to happen again. But also the Mandalorian show has come out, and you've probably seen Baby Yoda on the internet.
I have. Yes, the memes are real.
Oh man, like it's a pretty good show. It's slow, but the episodes are shorter, and I think that's very smart. I think Netflix kind of ruined our understanding of what a TV show should be because it's slow and thoughtful, but it's also super long. And that's the term is Netflix drift, where you have a show that is just so slow. Like the stories are good, but you don't get from action to action very quickly, and it makes the whole season seem bloated. And this is avoiding that. And at the end of the first episode, I was like, you know what? This might be okay. And then Baby Yoda appeared on the screen. I'm like, I'm fucking on board.
That's magical.
It's a very cute little puppet.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked on that.
Well, another thing that I've been doing that you appreciate, I know, is I've been reading a little bit more. Charles took me away for my 30th birthday, and we had a really, really relaxing weekend, which was lovely.
Yeah, you had a birthday.
Yeah.
It was birthday this month.
Thanks. It was my birthday. But it was really fun, and one of the activities was that we went to this really cool little used bookstore. Mm-hmm. We set a 20-minute timer, and each of us had to pick out 3 books for the other person, and then we had to reconvene, and then we had to choose one of the books, and that was what we were going to be reading for the weekend.
That's cool.
Which was fun. And so I read this absolute piece of trash that was terrible, but very entertaining. And it just reminded me, I don't know, I've always really, really loved to read. I grew up without being able to watch TV, so that was my main source of entertainment.
Yeah.
And I just find that I don't do it enough as an adult. I just start reading and then I fall asleep instead. And so it really takes getting out of my comfort zone to be in a different place with different stuff going on for me to actually read, which is why I love reading on vacation so much. Nice. But I got home, I finished that book, and then I was like, man, I really want to read Red Shirts because it's been on my list for a long time. Mm-hmm. Dude, I know I texted you when I finished it, but what I didn't tell you, I read the entire book in one day.
That's cool.
I just
that
sat
works
down
too.
and
It's
I read
such it's such a smooth book.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a pleasant read. It's an easy read, but it is a very thoughtful. It's John Scalzi. I haven't read anything else by him, but I'm aware that he's an extremely talented and prolific sci-fi writer.
Yeah.
And when it was recommended to me, I'm like, oh, cool. It's a joke book about Star Trek. And that third act
so
of the
much
book,
more.
I was like, oh man, I came for the lulls, and now I'm really emotional. This is and because I'm such a Star Trek guy, when I recommend it to people, they're like, yeah, okay.
But it's
it
actually
really,
really good. Yeah,
it's really good.
I really, really enjoyed it. I have this thing, Charles got it for me for a couple years ago, that's a book diary. And so every time I finish a book, I go in and I write down my thoughts and what it's about and all that stuff. And it was just so nice to sit down and read it and then write down. And I was writing how it reminded me a lot of the spirit of Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
It's not quite as... It's not the same.
Yeah,
but it has a similar spirit of he obviously loves Star Trek, right? Mm-hmm. And that was really nice. And I was writing about that, and then I flipped to the beginning of the Notebook. The Notebook, I don't know. And then it was whatever. At the beginning of the Notebook, it says what's your favorite movie? And I had written Galaxy Quest, and I was like, oh, that feels so true. I don't know. It just felt really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were on that Common Geeking Program episode where we were talking about Galaxy Quest, and it's never been one of my favorite movies, but it's one of those things I appreciated. But Red Shirts, I don't know, struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
As a fan of things in general, I commit to fandoms pretty hard. It was nice to see. It was nice to see something that really looked at it from a different angle, and I don't Galaxy Quest looks at Star Trek from a parodic angle, But
Right.
but the angle that Red Shirts takes about the link between these spacefarers and the writers of like a Star Trek-esque TV show, like that metaphysical link made me think not about the universe of Star Trek, but like the action of creating it.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, I feel like that's a really nice way to look at things. And it was not like an expose tone. It was a people love doing what they do tone.
Yeah.
And it felt
It was
wonderful.
really nice.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of 2 books. I set a goal to read 10 books this year. I also set a thing to learn piano pieces, but again, I haven't been doing that. I'm about to put together a soundtrack for Dice Populi, though, so I submit that as a replacement because I've done so much fucking music for that show. But I'm in the middle of John Hodgman's latest book and V for Vendetta. I'm finally reading the graphic novel.
Okay.
Because I love that movie to pieces. Rebecca had never seen it. And so I showed it to her on the 5th of November.
Of course, as you do.
And then I was like, you know what? Because for a Comic Geeking program, an early episode, I had to read Watchmen. And then later, for an adaptations episode, I watched Watchmen. I watched the novel before I read the novel before I watched the movie. And they're both by Alan Moore. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the graphic novel was great.
I think
the movie
I was
was
on
okay.
that episode with you because you were talking about how it was the most similar to reading a comic as you've ever read or seen.
It is, and that's because that's the way that Zack Snyder likes to make his movies. He uses comic frames as storyboards. V for Vendetta, not made by Zack Snyder, but that link and how strongly I felt about the connection between the Watchmen novel and the Watchmen movie made me think I should do this. And I'm reading the graphic novel for V for Vendetta, and it's really good. Like I'm so happy to be reading it. And that was was another thing with reading my books is I've realized as an adult I have some difficulty reading, especially walls of text. And as a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien, that's a tough thing to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because one of the books I read this year was the Unfinished Tales of Numenor and Middle-earth, which is essentially a scholarly book that Chris Tolkien wrote about his dad. So that took me some time to get through. But switching it up every once in a while with like a graphic novel or XKCD books where he has
I got the one for Charles. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, because this year 2 of the books I've read were his. It was What If, and the one that he just released, How To.
How To is the one that I just got him.
Yeah, both great, both really fun. Like I walk away learning things, and he's a very funny writer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's funny
really
that you say that because I've been reading the McElroy Adventure Zone comics as kind of like my in-betweens, which has been really nice.
Doing those.
But I think I realized part of my reading rut is that I'm on the 3rd book of a trilogy that I've been reading for a long ass time. Mm-hmm. And every book is literally double the length of the previous book.
Exponentially, that creates a scheduling problem.
Yes. And so the 3rd book is like way longer than the first one. And I loved the first one. I thought it was like absolutely perfect. And then the second one like kind of took these turns that were like a little bit slower. And it was kind of hard to trudge through. And then like they made this romance kind of the main plot when like, I don't know, it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But like ultimately I really enjoyed the second book as well. And it ended really intense. And like I was super excited that I was reading it and excited to start the 3rd one. And the 3rd one is so much bigger and there's so much more of that kind of like slow detouring. The romance is still big in it. And like it's a lot of like the main character yearning for this life that he doesn't have. And like I just want to finish it. And I felt like I couldn't start another book because I was in the middle of a trilogy until I was just like, no, like fuck it. Like I want to read and I shouldn't be stopping myself from reading just because I don't want to read the book that I'm in the middle of.
I've done exactly that with games where I'm like, I can't buy new games until I do this. And generally that's a good spending habit because games are so expensive. But like I got to a point where like I'm forcing myself to finish a game that I hate. And I have so many games I could buy maybe on sale or whatever that I'm not playing. So like I've totally restructured how I still generally try not to buy games when I'm not done with the ones I'm playing, but I've had to get a lot more honest with myself about
whether or not you're enjoying the.
Yeah, because I mean, it's to an extent, it's the sunk cost fallacy.
Right.
It's, I've started, so I should finish. Like, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like I've sunk some serious times into gaming books where there was one book I actually started reading this year called Bannerless, which is not a bad book by any means, but I was not into it at all.
Yeah.
And when I'm not into a book, I stop reading it, and then 3 weeks go by, and I'm like, I haven't picked up a book. That's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
But,
exactly that.
But after I'm done with, once I finish Medallion Status by John Hodgman, which is wonderful, just as wonderful as Vacation Land, and V for Vendetta, I'm probably, because you and I, when we went to the shows, we picked up the Sawbones book. We got autographed copies of the Sawbones book. So I'll probably try to go through that. It might be fun for us to, like, have a little book club
Do you
thing.
want to do a little book club?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
We
Maybe
should do a
not for
little
next
book
month.
club.
Maybe for like January or something to give us time to like settle and shit.
That
but
sounds
yeah,
good.
we should read the Sawbones book and get that going.
I'm into it.
Yeah, and I might. It'd be fun to actually hit each other up for more book recommendations.
Yeah.
In the future, because. I trust your opinion on these sorts of things, and it's nice to have the motivation.
Yeah.
Reading books is so solitary, and I did it so much when I was a kid. And then when I was 12, I bought an Xbox, and my life fell apart. And and I just kind of stopped reading books.
People say things like that, and then I really appreciate Waldorf education, where I'm like, I didn't have a TV till I was in high school.
That's probably a good thing. Well, I was homeschooled, so like I would blow through books.
Yeah.
I would read my like school curriculum textbooks for fun.
Yeah.
I was 2 years ahead in science and 1 year ahead in math, because I was that bored.
Yeah.
So as soon as I had unfettered video game time, I overcorrected.
Right.
And it had serious consequences. So I'm really trying to like stay on that. Like, not learning piano pieces is a bummer, and I am going to get back on that. Writing for Dice Populi really has just been very consuming for like my headspace for music.
Yeah.
Like I have a pretty routine way of doing it at this point, where like I come up with a couple motifs and I just build off of that. And once I have a song written, I can just like plug and play things, and it's really not that hard. So, but it's still a lot of forethought.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm like learning a new piece, all I'm thinking about is how could I turn this into something for that podcast. But I'm super proud of the music I've done there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it'd be cool to do book stuff and
book
recommendations.
I like it.
But that
Speaking of recommendations.
Yeah, that leads us to some beef. I alluded to some beef.
It's not beef.
It feels like beef. I know it's not beef. I'm probably over dramatizing. But
You never.
fuck off. So so you and I have recommended TV shows to each other for a while. Like, we trade back and forth. You watch a little bit of this. If you like it, great. Hand it off. And you resurrected that this year, and I was very pleased when you did. That was one of those things after you got married where I'm like, Laura's back!
Yeah.
And you were like, Colin, you should watch Orphan Black. My ex-girlfriend she'd introduced it to me a while ago. I just never picked it up. Yeah. And my current girlfriend has Amazon Prime, so I was like, that works.
Nice.
So I watched Orphan Black, and I loved it. It's a very good show. A touch too overdramatic, but the story was compelling enough that I didn't care.
Yeah. Yes.
And then I was like, Laura shared with me a treasure of a television show that she loves deeply, and I need to do the same for her. So I'm going to have her watch one of the greatest comedies I've seen in my life, Letterkenny. How could that go wrong? Camera whip pan to Laura.
It went wrong because I don't like it.
Okay, so I know you're basically asking to be let off the hook.
I am, because I watched an entire season and a third. How is that not enough to get an idea of whether or not I'm going to like it?
Okay, because the term season here is totally misrepresentative of what's happening. Because a season of Orphan Black is 10 43-minute episodes.
Right, but they chose to make them 10-minute, and that's how you were intended to absorb that show. And this show you absorb in smaller chunks, and I have watched enough hours of that show that I know that I do not enjoy it.
That's That's fair, and I understand that. I'm getting hung up on the principles because in terms of like the
we had a 3-episode limit, which I really feel like we should stick to. With some that was like way before we were like, all right, watch 3 episodes. If there's like some sort of mitigating factor where you're like, but trust me, episode 4 is the one where it starts getting good. Like I know 3 is kind of our limit, but blah blah blah. Like an entire season of something is so far beyond that. Regardless of the length of the show, like the TV show.
Okay. No, that's
what I got really frustrated about, that you were like, you have to watch 2 seasons of this show and then you can tell me whether or not you like it. And I was like, I don't like it, and I'm dragging myself through this, and I fucking hate it every time I turn it on.
Okay. So the math on my end, is I don't know if we verbally said it, but I had said like I was going to watch 1 season of Orphan Black at least, and 2 seasons of Letterkenny equals less than 1 season of Orphan Black, like in terms of time.
That's fair.
So that's what it is. I was equating the time, but you bring up a good point that I'd forgotten we did have that 3-episode limit.
Yeah.
So I think that how I feel about this is going to hinge on something, and I'm trusting you. Let's honor the beef here. Let's have an honorable beef.
Episode title right there.
The honorable beef presiding. Did I communicate to you before I recommended Letterkenny? Did I communicate to you that I was in for a season and then moving on from there?
I am not sure.
Okay.
I can neither confirm nor deny that because
so go ahead. Sorry.
I would not have made you watch an entire season. So if you did say I'm in for a season, that was kind of your own plug.
That's what's changing my mind here is if through all of this you had a different understanding of the commitment, I can respect that. I would have one request, just one.
Okay.
Which is at the very least, I think it's season 2, episode 3. I don't know if you just watched the first 2 episodes of season 2, but Letterkenny season 2, episode 3, like at least watch the cold open.
Okay. The fast-talking Canadian accent, like flat-faced humor, just doesn't do it for me. Yeah. It doesn't do it for me.
Okay. Yeah, I would ask if you can watch at least the cold open of season 2, episode 3, but preferably that whole episode. I very much enjoy it. It still gets me every time I go through it. And if you feel nothing at that point, I'll probably never give you shit about it again.
All right.
If you see what's funny about it, I still won't commit you to watching the rest, but I would like to see if the stride of the show appeals to you in a different way than anything else.
Okay.
But
I can do that for you.
I didn't even spend that much time. The fictional area of Letterkenny essentially takes place where I spent a lot of time as a kid. But I wasn't really exposed to the small town life and hick isms of Letterkenny, but it's still very fun to see that stuff. But that got my foot in the door. I didn't care for season 1, season 2 is when I jumped on. But after Letterkenny, it is your turn to recommend a show to me. Do you have something lined up in the hopper? Like, what are you going to throw at me next?
I don't necessarily think I have anything lined up because right now I'm a little bit behind you in TV shows because I am just starting to watch like the Apple TV Plus stuff.
Yeah. Those are like everyone was kind of like lukewarm on those shows. I'm enjoying like all of them.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying. I've watched so far. I'm caught up on the morning show, and I gotta say, I'm enjoying it a lot.
It's good. It is one of the like tightest drama shows I've seen.
Yeah, it's good.
Just in every regard, like it almost feels like Aaron Sorkin-esque.
Yeah, I just yelled that really loudly.
You did.
I watched it.
Yeah, it does. If you haven't, Dickinson. If you don't get to it, I'll probably make my next show for you, Dickinson.
Okay.
On Apple TV Plus, it's very anachronistic in its portrayal of Emily Dickinson, and that makes it really good.
Okay.
So that's. I'll probably throw that out as the next one.
About it. I don't know. I mean, you want to watch Survivor? It's really good.
Okay, we just agreed. We have a 3-episode intro limit. How are you gonna what 3 episodes of Survivor do I watch?
I would have to choose a season for you to watch, and then
exactly.
You could watch it through.
I mean, I can't fight it. I can't fight it. I'd prefer something else. Maybe I'm just prejudging Survivor. I don't know. I'd never watch like an entire episode in a sitting. I might be just being very judgy.
I might actually make you watch Survivor, even just for the first couple episodes, just because like. There's a reason it's been such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
like it's on for its like 33rd season or some shit, and like it's entertaining every season.
I thought you were about to say because you made me watch Letterkenny. I thought this was gonna be your revenge, but no. Okay. I know you enjoy the show because we share.
Have you ever seen Blue Mountain State?
No, what's that?
Okay, that's my actual recommendation then.
Okay.
So I haven't seen it in forever, but Blue Mountain State is a comedy about a college football team and like their absolute shenanigans in school, but it's like very stupid and very funny.
Okay. How do I watch it?
It's a good question.
You just text me later. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. Oh God, we have to get you on date night.
Yeah, that's pretty soon. I think all we're doing is I bought us some dinner, so I'm gonna eat some chicken wings, which I would never do that to you on a microphone. It's pretty atrocious. But we're gonna finish Phantom Menace and then watch Attack of the Clones, and it's gonna be a great time.
Sounds lovely.
I don't think she heard me say any of that, so that was for nobody's benefit. But yeah, no, it's I don't know why I'm so tired today, but yeah, I've just been I've been watching a lot of stuff because there's the Apple TV shows, Mandalorian. It's all on a Friday. Like all the Apple, that bugs me about Apple TV Plus is it dropped on a Friday and there are 3 weekly shows there.
And it's all on Friday.
They're all on Friday. And I'm like, just please spread it out. Disney Plus, Mandalorian dropped on a Tuesday and then they switched to a Friday episode rotation. And I was like, oh, cool, it's going to be on Tuesdays. Nope, I have 4 shows to watch on Fridays. And that's what killed me watching like The Flash and Arrow is there was so much to watch in a fucking week that I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of this. But if since we've been talking so much about forms of entertainment, after last month when we spent that morning playing Halo together a bunch, I have been playing so much Halo 5.
Yeah.
I am now ranked in 3 different competitive playlists, which means at least 30 matches there.
Damn.
When I woke up from my nap today, I just woke up and played 2 matches in a new rotating playlist. And I know that you've never played ranked in Halo 5, but the divisions are bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and then the elite tiers are Onyx and Champion. And for those, you have to be in like the top 2,000 players. Like millions of people still play this game. Yeah. So getting in those is very hard. And in Team Slayer, I got to diamond rank, and I feel very good about that. Because I lost a lot of my Halo chops playing Destiny.
Yeah.
And they are very similar, but it's such different mentalities when you're playing. Halo 5 is so much more tense. But it's felt really good to just play a game. I haven't been making progress on my other games because of it, but getting back to our conversation earlier, I'm like, but this is what I want to play.
Yeah.
And I'm having a really good time playing it. It's been nice to just sink in a game. And I've been playing a bit of Ori and the Blind Forest, Dead Cells. I don't know if you would like it a whole lot, but Charles might definitely like Dead Cells. It's a side-scroller roguelike that has Castlevania vibes.
Okay.
And it's like you're supposed to die over and over again, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And because the death loop is so fast, it's really easy to just like play for 5 minutes or play for like 5 hours. It's really fun.
Nice.
But that's on Game Pass if you ever get Game Pass. I don't know. Is there anything else? I feel like you and I have just had a very chill month of talking to each other.
That was nice. I made a really, really awesome carrot cake yesterday, and I brought the leftovers to work today.
That's nice.
That's like pretty much my main thing.
Oh, one thing
I'm starving.
I did do, so am I. One thing I did do is a couple episodes ago, you pulled up an old text message of me.
Oh, yeah.
And I went through and I tried to gather any screenshots of your and my conversations and put them in an album.
Okay.
And I found a bunch where when iOS first came out with the handwriting feature that nobody uses anymore.
Yep.
And it's you drawing pictures of guinea pigs.
Okay.
And me drawing pictures of balloon letters and penises. And commenting on each other's handwriting. And whatever happened to that fucking feature? I feel like it disappeared. And
I don't know.
Yeah, because I think I have like 4 screenshots of us drawing these horrible things at each other. And then it ends with me scrolling out, reading through our convos would be annoying as fuck. if we did it like this all the time. And hold on. After that, I just scrolled to the next screenshot. Is I cut off what I said, so at the top I see that's why I avoided the ears ... which sounds strange, but I'm gonna show this to you. Then it all makes sense when I see what you reply with, which is we were trying to construct faces out of emoji in the message bubble, and the spacing of all these things is horrifying. Because the message is like ear, eye, ear, line break, nose, line break, fingernail painting, lipstick, Vulcan hand salute. And then you say she has tiny hands. It's fine. She's beautiful the way she is. And it's so hideous. It's so disgusting.
Oh my god. It looks a little Ferengi because the face and the ears are like the same size.
And that's exactly what it looks like. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I need to get into the habit of screenshotting things more because...
yeah.
Though I guess that doesn't work quite as well because now all our messages are games.
Yeah, it's a little less exciting.
It's fine. Okay, Laura,
glorious.
I think I'm gonna dip. I have a bunch of chicken wings that are not as warm as I'd like them to be, so I will make them warm. Enjoy the Phantom Menace.
That sounds lovely. I'm gonna reheat some shit and eat it on the couch.
Ew. Okay.
Oh man! Also, I got a new comforter and it arrived today, and I'm really excited about it.
Oh, break that shit in.
Yeah.
Have a great time with that comforter. Oh,
It's gonna
man.
be great.
All right, Laura,
Cool.
it's been very nice.
Yeah.
Let me know when you watch that episode of Letterkenny.
I'm probably just gonna do it now because I don't want to hang over my head. That's the biggest problem. Is that I feel like this has been hanging over my head for like months now, and
It
I just
has
like
been since like July.
I know it feels terrible. I'm literally yelling.
What if you treated TV like books and you're like, I haven't watched TV in a year because of Letterkenny?
I'd probably be way smarter.
That's true. That's pretty fucking true. All right, Laura, I'm going to talk to you later. And yep, that's it. That's the end of the sentence.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.
How You Doing is a Common Geeking Program production starring Laura Becker and Colin Ketchen, with editing and original music by Colin. You can learn all about the show at the website podfriend.pizza. It has everything you need to listen and to learn about the PodFriends themselves, and it's an easy place for new listeners to jump on board. If you enjoy the podcast, reviews and ratings are the best way to show it. Tell a friend, share your favorite episodes, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. We'll talk to you again the first Monday of every month, so be sure to stay in touch. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.
Come and meet